Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Creeps, Creatures, and Haunts.
Oh my.
We had a little bit of a sabbatical there because we were focusing on some of our other videos, like the Fairfield County Infirmary Ghost Hunt, and we also did a vlog at Otherworld in Columbus, Ohio, which is like an interactive like art museum thing, but it's very haunted house adjacent / escape roomy. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure you go check out those videos. But we will be having podcasts here regularly again for the next few Fridays. It's just nice to take a break once in a while
Yeah.
from that because sometimes it just gets a little bit much doing like trying to think of like ideas for the podcast. So if you have any ideas, make sure to let us know. But today's episode, which I don't know if we've mentioned on the channel at all because we're not filming it or anything, but we are going to be going to Disney in May. And so we thought it would be a fun idea to do like creepy Disney things. Now, this is not by far the first video or content that we've seen of it. So what we decided, because originally we were going to be like a top 10, but then we decided, well, I guess I decided that we should just do a whole bunch because like there's so many different things, and since it's podcast form, it's usually a bit longer as well. So I don't know exactly how many different interesting, like weird, creepy Disney things we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be quite a few. I'm sure it's not going to be all of them because Disney is basically there's like it's been around for so long now that it's like endlessly creepy
Yeah.
things. All right, so I'll let Kim go ahead and just kick it off with our first creepy Disney fact.
All right. So, the first thing I have on my list, because we each did a separate kind of thing and kind of compared notes and stuff like that, is Caesar, the ventriloquist dummy that is at the end of the Tower of Terror. This ventriloquist dummy is an actual prop from the Twilight Zone. It was actually used in an episode of the Twilight Zone. And it's pretty creepy. I mean, ventriloquist dummies are just creepy in general, but this one's like, it's got really bushy eyebrows, and he's just really like...
Yeah, if you're watching video form, I'm sure I'll have a picture here. Yeah.
But it actually sits at the end of, like, when you get off the ride, there's a little... if you're familiar with the Tower of Terror, you go into a big hotel, and there's, like, a bunch of, like, stuff around that people have kind of left there because it's a hotel. Well, at the end, you're leaving, and there's, like, a bunch of stuff there, and Caesar, the ventriloquist dummy, is sitting there in there. He's not the only thing that actually is from episodes of Twilight Zone. I guess there's a bunch of other stuff scattered around there, but he's the most notable one because he is a big creepy ventriloquist dummy that may or may not move. They're not sure about that.
Yeah, I've heard that there's like people have reported and stuff that like he's like moved around and stuff like that. It's probably just because he's a creepy dummy more than anything else. But I think it's interesting that something from the actual TV series, something that was actually creepy like that, is in the ride. So I'm just going to bring it up now because I think anyone who's ever read anything about creepy Disney stuff has heard this one. It's so popular, but if you don't know, it's pretty crazy. The Haunted Mansion ride, while being obviously a creepy ride, that's kind of the point, it's a haunted mansion, it is one of the #1 requested places for people when they die for their ashes to be scattered. And yes, there's a lot of people that will sneak ashes of their loved ones into Disney, and they'll dump it like around the haunted mansion, like in the graveyard area and stuff like that. An interesting fact is, I guess they have a code word as well for when they have to clean it up.
Yes. It's actually HEPA is the code word, and it's a high efficiency particulate air vacuum that they have to bring out to suck up the ashes. They do keep an eye out on for people who they suspect might be trying to do that. Also, and this is kind of a funny thing, I read this in the last article that I read. They actually sell haunted mansion themed urns in the gift shop.
Wait, really?
Yes. To kind of deter people from dumping their ashes. They're like, why don't you buy them this lovely urn that has the haunted mansion, their favorite ride on it, and you can put them in there instead of putting them in the physical ride.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird. I did not know that they sold urns at the thing. But yeah, I know it's become a problem. Like I said, this one's a really popular one. That's why I kind of wanted to talk about it now and get it out of the way, because I'm sure a lot of people, if you're tuning into this video, have heard that. But if not, that is really weird to think that. For one, it's illegal.
I know.
So like, don't do that.
Like, even to dump people's ashes on a beach and stuff, you have to get permission.
Yeah.
You can't just go to Myrtle Beach and be like, bye, Grandpa. Like, you have to have permission because you're literally disposing of a dead body.
Yeah, so don't dump people's ashes in the Haunted Mansion. And I guess we'll stick with the Haunted Mansion. And I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not, but there's a big rumor that the seance book and the seance scene used to be an actual 14th century book of witchcraft. I guess there was reports that the book would move and wouldn't stay in place, open and close, and that kind of stuff. Now, supposedly the book has been changed for a prop. Disney likes to say it's always been a prop, but, you know, there's been other things on the list that were surprising that are actual facts, like 100% for sure facts that Disney's used in other rides. So maybe it was an actual seance book. Maybe they were like, oh, it'll be cool to kind of have this little, like, thing there, like something kind of authentic.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, witchcraft, again, like, isn't necessarily evil, like movies portray it to be. You know, there's forms of witchcraft that can be, but for the most part, witchcraft is actually kind of usually more of a positive thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But I just think that that's interesting, if true.
Right.
I like to believe that it was.
I would like to believe that was true, because that would be kind of funny that they just, like, went thrifting and found this cool book, and they're like, hey, let's put it in the Haunted Mansion, and they're like, oh.
And it also makes sense because, and again, we'll talk about that later, but Walt likes things to be authentic and real looking.
Yeah.
So.
That's true, too.
Yeah.
And that was one of his babies. He really liked the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, yeah. And that's why it's like, it's one of the only rides it's in, like, I think every park has a Haunted Mansion. Well, there's one that I don't think that does. Is it Shanghai, maybe? One of them doesn't, but they have something that's like...
Yeah, Mystic Manor.
Yeah, Mystic Manor. So it's basically like a re-theme of it. There's some updates and stuff, because I think it might be a trackless ride.
It's a trackless ride, and it's more
really
of
cool.
like a magical than ghostly ride.
Yeah. Also, the rumors you're talking about, most of them I think are going to be the original Disneyland, but some will be in the Disney World park as well. Some will be Florida, but Disneyland, I think just because it's older, has a little bit more of like the spooky haunted history.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So, actually this one is in Disney World. It is George the Ghost at the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. George supposedly was a maintenance guy that worked on the ride.
A welder, I guess.
Yeah, and he died somehow on the ride. There's no real details about how he died. They just said that he worked on the ride as a welder, and he died there. The ride tends to malfunctions if cast members do not say good morning and good evening to George when they come in and when they are about to leave, which I think is kind of funny, because not too long ago, about a month or so ago, there were a bunch of reports about how the Pirates of the Caribbean ride was malfunctioning, and I'm like, I was reading this article, and I'm like, man, I wonder if they hired new cast members, and maybe the cast members weren't doing the thing, and that's why the ride was malfunctioning.
Because it's obviously not a thing that's like enforced, but basically it's something that's just been passed down from ride operator to ride operator.
Yeah,
this is something that you should do. And yeah, you said this one was the one from the actual Florida one.
Yeah, this is the Florida one,
because when that was being built. Okay.
Also with the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I'll add this on there, just because it's the same ride, is that there are supposedly real bones in the ride.
Yeah.
When they were designing the ride, the Imagineers actually got medical grade skeletons from a local medical center.
Yeah, it was from, what was the college? It was UCLA. It was UCLA.
Yeah.
Yep.
And put them in there, and supposedly a lot of them have been replaced, but some cast members have said that there are still real bones.
Yeah,
in some of the
sets. There's still like at least one skull, and there's a couple real bones that just have not been able to be replaced yet. Yeah. So yeah, but it used to be like all real skeletons there, because, and this is what I was talking about, the authenticity, is Walt basically at the time wasn't happy with the fake skeletons. And he said they looked like too cartoonish, and that's not what he wanted for the ride. So that's why they went with real. And now that props look so much better now. You can have you can have real realistic looking things. Yeah. One big thing is, so this is kind of a combo, is like people have claimed that some of the animatronics, especially in A Small World, are known to like move and blink, like even though they're not supposed to be able to do that thing. But another big one is that they don't actually shut these animatronics like off at night. So these things, that the horrible catchy It's a Small World plays constantly.
All I can imagine is just this like constant, and that music just going forever and ever.
But yeah, just imagine being a cast member walking out in the middle of the night and all you hear is just, it's a small world after all. Ew. Because for one, like, I haven't been to Disney for many years. That's why I am kind of excited to go back in May. We wanted to go in 2020, but we couldn't because of Rona. So, and then last year there were so many restrictions, and this year most of the restrictions have been lifted. So I'm like, because it's very expensive, and I'm like, I don't want to waste money on a subpar trip.
Yeah.
So that's why we had canceled, obviously, in 2020. I don't even, well, it would have been open. We planned on going, but it was very restrictive. But I do remember, even as a kid, riding a small world, being like, this is annoying. Like, so I'm curious if I appreciate the ride more riding it as an adult. But yeah.
Hey guys, just a reminder, we do have a merch store.
Yes.
You can check it out. We have lots of cool stuff in there. You can get a t-shirt, you could get a mug, you could get a bunch of really cool stuff, and it really helps support us too.
Yeah. If you're watching the video form, I'll be having like a little display here on the merch store. And also, if we actually sell some stuff, we haven't sold much yet, only a couple of items. We would like to do a different line, you know, maybe a couple different designs and stuff like that, if it proves that that's something like that you want. If there is something that you would like to purchase, but for some reason don't just want our cool Skull Bob logo, let us know that. Let us know if there's some kind of design. Maybe you would like a shirt that says Hot Talk on it or something because you're a fan particularly of that series. Again, that's not the channel, but that is a series we do, and that is something that we've debated on doing. But right now we have a line with the Skull Bob on it that has hoodies, shirts, glassware, all kinds of fun stuff. Even I think bags and purses you can get that on with our logo and the name Spirit Light Productions. So please check that out. It helps us out a lot. And yeah, we really like our logo, and we think it actually does look really cool on things. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about some ghosts. All right. This one is actually in Disneyland. There is a supposed lady in white that walks Main Street. I guess she has actually been seen before the park was actually there. It is an older woman dressed in turn-of-the-century clothes, and she is known to be seen window shopping and helping lost children.
Yeah, okay.
Get to Lost and Found to find their parents.
So she's a helpful ghost.
She's a very helpful ghost.
Well, that's good. Yeah, none of the Disney ghosts that I think I've read about seem to be malicious.
No.
So that's...
They basically are just kind of pranksters, or they're helpful.
Right.
There was...
I know one...
Oh, yeah, there was another one. Another ghost for you here is there is a ghost on the Space Mountain ride that likes to ride with single riders. So think again next time you take the single rider ride. You might have somebody sit next to you that wasn't there.
So I actually have two. I have one that kind of adds to what you just talked about, but I want to talk about this first. Is people actually claim that Walt Disney's ghost haunts the apartment. So because he used to turn the lamp on, and this of course is in Anaheim, it was above like the fire station is where his apartment is if you're unaware, and he would turn the lamp on in the window basically to let cast members and them know that he was there, and it would be off when he wasn't. So when he passed, out of respect, they basically turned the lamp off. Well, supposedly the lamp turned itself back on, and people like have heard and seen things in his apartment, so now the lamp stays on forever because basically Walt's like, I'm still here, so they leave that lamp on, so next time you see the lamp on, in and of itself is supposedly on because of a supposed ghost sighting. And there was one other one that I found really interesting here. Where is it? Yes, so I've seen this, and I actually didn't know it. So have you actually, Kim, seen, there's like a popular series of videos of like ghosts in the park, of like people actually sitting, stuff like a ghost. You can kind of see like a ghostly figure sitting beside the Space Mountain. Oh, they're really popular. I think they've even been on like, they've been on TV for sure. There's one on Ghost Mountain. There's one you can kind of see walking down Main Street, I think it is, or maybe it's by the lake. There's one in the Tower of Terror. Well, the funny thing is these ghost videos were actually a hoax by Disney themselves. they hired a guy named Christopher Cantwell. He admitted it on Twitter that it was all filmed in one night, and they basically did it as a publicity stunt. So it's kind of released around October as like to these like different outlets, but it was actually Disney commissioned him to make fake ghost videos.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because I've seen these videos and I'm like, I'm sure that's fake, but I never in a million years would have thought without looking it up that Disney is actually the one that paid for these videos to be made. It's just a marketing ploy.
That's funny.
Right, that I thought that was really funny. So, you know, there's real ghosts, and then I guess Disney also just likes to fake it sometimes.
Okay, so here's a weird and kind of gross thing. Did you ever notice that in Liberty Square, some of the pavement is brown? That is I guess, a reminder of the sewers that used to run through colonial streets.
Because in colonial, yeah.
Before there was indoor plumbing.
Yep.
You would basically just go wherever.
Well, the waste, like a lot
and
of
the waste would just go into these.
Like London had a huge like problem with this as well. But yeah, I mean, it was everywhere, and I don't think that's something that people forget a lot. But yeah, before like modern day sewage was a thing, like you would go to the restroom and it would just kind of go into a pipe out of your house onto things. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of there to resemble that.
Yeah.
If that's true or not, I don't know, but that's something that's definitely a rumor that I've heard before.
Well, that they said it is like an actual thing. Like they actually did that as that because they kind of a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. Like, hey. Also, if you walk through Liberty Square, I want to say except for any restaurants, there are no restrooms located in Liberty Square.
Yep. You
have to go to one of the other lands in order to use the restroom. So make sure you pee before you go to Liberty Square.
Yeah. There's garbage. There's garbage cans every 10 feet, but no restrooms.
No restrooms.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The garbage cans that suck your garbage down to the basement.
Right. Another really popular one that a lot of people know about, and man, I would love to go there, but yeah, you definitely should not, is the abandoned water park River Country that is still there today, and supposedly the speakers still play music, which is very uncharacteristic for Disney. There's also a lot of conspiracies of why, and I guess Disney has said like the waters around that are polluted, and there are gators there, so you have to be really careful. Well, you should not go out there, but that's one of the reasons that they say not to go out there is because you'll die. But there has been people that have made it and there's been caught, and I don't know exactly what kind of fines, but I do know that they've been banned from, I believe, all Disney parks for life for doing it. And there was another water park, or not another water park, there was another little island thing that also is abandoned. I forget what that was called. But
Discovery Island.
Yeah, Discovery Island. But the River Country, it's crazy. You can see videos on YouTube of people that have went there. It's like they just closed the park and left it alone.
Yeah. They actually found a homeless man living on Discovery Island not too long ago.
Did they?
Yeah, and he was living there for a while. They just discovered it.
Like, how would he, like, what is he eating there and stuff? Like,
well, first off, how did he get there?
Well, I mean,
how is he like eating? What is he eating?
You could get there. I mean, if you're clever enough, like, there's people that have done things like hiding in Disney when it closes and just like hiding throughout the park, like as a challenge.
Sure.
So, I mean, maybe he did something like that. I don't know. But, yeah, what is he eating? Because it would be hard to, like, not get caught with multiple trips. I could see maybe not getting caught getting there, but then, like, continuing to not get caught would be the thing that is confusing to me. This is just a little fun fact. I guess that, like, Disney protagonists in movies basically don't have moms because Walt's mom passed away, and so that's one of the reasons he never wrote that into stories.
Why does he always have to kill him at, like, the beginning?
Well, it's kind of a psychological thing, I assume.
Yes.
It's just like there's a lot of things like that where it's like if you face trauma, it's like like reliving things like that kind of helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
Bambi's mom gets killed.
Yeah, Bambi's mom gets killed, but like most of them don't even have moms. They're not even usually mentioned in most of them.
Gets killed.
Oh yeah, I guess no, they just get murdered.
Little Mermaid didn't have a mom.
An interesting one that I don't know if you know or not, Kim, but do you know who actually voiced Lilo from Lilo and Stitch?
Who?
The same girl that plays Samara in The Ring. So there's a fun fact for you.
Wow.
So next time you watch Lilo and Stitch, you can think of Samara just crawling out of the little well and stuff for you.
That's creepy.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun little fact. And those are two short ones, so I'll do one more. Because this is kind of creepy, kind of not. I don't feel like going crazy into the conspiracy thing. But Club 33, there's rumors that it was part of the Illuminati and all of that because, like, Walt, I guess, was a Mason or rumored to be a Mason and stuff like that. But some fun facts. It only has 500 members. Yep. It's a $33,000 initiation cost, an additional $15,000 yearly cost. But it does give you access to all 4 Club 33 locations. You get 50 one-day park hopper tickets per year and 5 day-long VIP guided tours and access to private concierge service. And if you don't know, a day-long VIP tour at Disney can cost like 5 of those would easily cost the membership of this. Like, they are so horrendously expensive. You should, like, look up the prices. I don't have them all here, but the prices for, like, a private VIP tour at Disney, it's like $1,000 plus an hour. It's It's mind-boggling, insane numbers. Disney does a lot of mind-boggling, insane numbers, but yeah, Club 33 is a pretty famous place, but I came across what a members basically reported.
All right, so one of the let's see. Still at Liberty Square, there is a creepy old fabric doll that sits in the window at one of the store fronts in Liberty Square. I guess during colonial times, dolls were put in windows of houses so that firefighters knew that there were children present in that house, just in case they needed rescuing. They knew that, there's kids in here, we gotta go save them. So they would put little dolls in the corner. But the doll's really creepy because, it's an old, like, rag doll.
Yeah, I'll have to try and see if I can find a picture because I'm not actually sure if I know what it looks like.
Yeah. The article that I had a picture of it, and it's a creepy little, like, it's just like a fabric, like, cutout kind of doll thing, and creepy.
Yeah, I need to find a picture of that because I don't think I knew that until you had mentioned it. Yeah, I did not know about that one. There's so many like weird things with Disney. Here's a couple little ones. There are still quite a few items actually painted with the original lead painting in Disneyland. So he's got to be careful on that. There's still quite a bit of like lead. There's actually, I guess, signs like, because California is like sprinkled around Disneyland, like saying like, hey, just so you know, there's like things in here that can cause cancer. Like there's actually signs through Disneyland, like basically warning you. Kind of like how I always find it funny. Like if you buy like something on an electric cord, there might be a tag on it that says like, just so you know, California says this might kill you, and you're like, what? I just find that interesting.
Wow.
In 2008. A Disney princess, her real name, Rachel May Buffet, who played Disney princess like Ariel, she was actually convicted for assisting with a murder. She got 3 years, I think, so she's out now. And her boyfriend that she assisted got life. So, murder princess.
Murder princess!
Not even Disney princesses are always that innocent.
It's a whole new world for stabbing people.
Right? In a ride that is closed in Disney World now, but still open in Disneyland, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, you get to witness his death and then experience hell, which is very uncharacteristic for a Disney attraction.
Oh, yeah. And on that little leg, there used to be a terrifying walkthrough in, I believe it was Tokyo? It was in one of the...
I think it was Tokyo.
It was one of the Asian Disneylands. It was inside one of the castles, and it was actually based on the Black Cauldron, which I don't know if you've ever seen the Black Cauldron, but it's not a very kid-friendly Disney movie.
It's one of the more
It's an animated movie, but it's a little rough. But you basically, the main guy is basically Satan.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty terrifying. There are some actual pictures and some video of this attraction. It is no longer there, unfortunately, because I would love to go there, but it's not there anymore because it terrified so many people.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about scary Disney things, rides. So, well, actually, wait, which park is it that actually does the real haunted house? Which is it? Tokyo? that actually has the haunted walkthrough. They haven't done it since 2019, I don't think, because 2020 put a stop to that.
Oh.
But yeah, I think it's Tokyo. If we're wrong, let us know, but I'm pretty sure that's the one that does it. But they actually have like an actual haunted house, and they have like some messed up stuff in there. I know I've seen screenshots of like a real messed up, I think it was Woody from Toy Story, and they kind of harken back, I think, to some of the original like Grimm fairy tales that a lot of Disney movies are based off of. You know, because most of Disney's original movies are based off of various Grimm fairy tales,
Yeah.
like Cinderella, for example. You know, that's a pretty popular one where they don't just stuff their feet in the slippers; they like lob off their toes and stuff to fit into the slipper.
Yeah.
The stepsisters do. So you know, but of course, in the Disney movie, they're not going to be showing kids them lobbing pieces of their feet off. But in the houses, they kind of do show more of the gruesome stuff, and it's the only Disney park I think that does do actual horrific things, where of course in Florida and Disneyland it's the Mickey's Not So Scary.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like nearly as intense. So I hope they bring it back, and that's like a bucket list thing. I would love to go through an actual Disney made haunted house with jump scares and gore. I think that would be so cool. And then the other one that is closed now is Alien Encounter, which I actually did get to experience, and it freaked the shit out of me when I was a child.
Oh yeah, that thing was terrifying.
For one, it's just an auditorium thing, but they actually had a lap bar come down to lock you in your seat, so you couldn't like run away, basically.
So you're basically trapped in this seat,
which is super freaky when you're a kid. It's one thing to walk through a haunted house, but you can like run away, but to like be locked in this thing, and they would have speakers that simulated it like breathing behind you, plus air would blow down in your neck. Yeah, it was real.
There was air, there was water, so it felt like it was spitting on you.
Well, it also I think broke out of the glass, and the water would spray to.
But it would behind you, because I remember it felt like something was behind me like this.
Something like drools
I also
on you or
got
something,
there was water dripping, so it was drooling. Its tail hit me in the leg.
Yeah.
There were little things in the back of your back of the chair that would like hit your leg, so it felt like something was hitting your leg. The seats would like the harness that you were on, it would bounce up and down like it was walking on top of the harnesses.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a super freaky ride,
really
especially for kids. Yeah, it was just really weird, and it's been replaced. Well, it was replaced with a Lilo and Stitch thing. Is that?
It was Stitch. Yeah.
But that's not open anymore, is it?
No, it is not open
closed down as
anymore.
well.
They closed that down, and I believe it's.
I don't know if it's anything now.
It was something Buzz Lightyear, but it might be nothing now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let us know in the comments if something took that specific location, because I'm not.
They basically tamed it down with the Stitch thing, where it was Stitch instead of the creepy alien, which was actually supposed to be a xenomorph, but at the last minute, they pulled it actually being the xenomorph from the actual Alien movies.
Right.
And they made it into just their own generic alien.
Right.
But was still just as terrifying. And then they changed it over to Stitch. And so you have like that comical, like, oh, it's Stitch, and he's just doing all this stupid crap to you and stuff. But it was still pretty scary, you know, because you're trapped. You're literally trapped in a seat. It was a really weird concept and idea. Whoever thought of it was like, hey, how can we traumatize hundreds of people?
Yeah, just being locked in place in the dark. Yeah, freaky ride. And so, correction number 4, we did look it up when we had to do a little cut there. It was in Shanghai, you said, is where the creepy Disney haunted house thing was, right?
Yeah.
And what was it called? The Maze of Terror or something like that?
Yeah, Maze of Terror, The Experiment, or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. But, yeah, so it's actually in the Shanghai one. So another one that's pretty popular, and I don't know if it's necessarily, like, scary, but, of course, is in the Magic Kingdom, there's tunnels under everything that you are walking. So actually you're on the second story when you're in that park, because there is a below story for all the tunnels, and that was because basically the story goes that he saw someone in a cowboy uniform walking through like the space section, like the future section, Tomorrowland, and was like, that doesn't fit, and that takes you out of the experience. So when they created, you never got to experience because he died before the park was complete, but when the Magic Kingdom was being built, that was the main reason that they did this. I guess the creepy thing is just thinking about the fact that while you're walking up there having fun, there's basically a little city beneath your feet. Just people walking in there in costume, there's princesses, Mickeys, just something about also the thought of like a mascot like Mickey or something just walking around with the head off.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me, because you'll never see that above ground.
No. Little side note with that is if any of the characters get sick while they have their heads on, they're supposed to just
Oh yeah,
do it. Just in the head.
because they're not allowed to take it off.
They're
in the
not allowed
park.
to take it off. So if they have to puke, they just do it.
Yeah. Which, you know what, that segues me into something. I was going to talk about that later, but Disney Paris has actually had some weird deaths of cast members. There was actually a chef that worked for the park that was found that he had committed suicide in his apartment, and there were writings on his walls that said, I don't want to work for Mickey anymore. Yeah, and of course, Walt Disney. I thought, yeah, it was either I don't want to work for Mickey anymore, or I don't want to work for a mouse anymore. It was one of the two. But I typed Mickey, and that's just like really creepy because,
really creepy.
yeah, and of course Disney was like, well, we don't have anything to do with his death. Obviously, I don't think they did, but like, yeah. And another one was kind of weird. In 2013, there was another cast member that tried to set themselves on fire, but he was stopped. And the same year as that, in 2013, a child got severely injured on the water ride. So it's almost like when you're being forced to act like you're happy under poor work conditions and being overworked, maybe stresses you out a little bit. Because it definitely sounds like this one guy, like there were work conditions or something. I mean, if he felt compelled to write on the wall before, he did that, like, yeah. So that's kind of a creepy
Downer
thing. Yeah.
And with that,
Do you have any?
I don't have
more?
anything else. So
Yeah. So the only other one I have is not that creepy, but just the fact that there's like lots of feral cats at Disney to help with rodent control of mice and rats
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So maybe don't pet them if you see them. Most of them are kept I think they try and keep them out but at night the cats are like allowed to roam free for that.
yeah, like occasionally you might see them. Like they kind of don't like crowds. You might see them if they haven't caught them all and put them away and stuff like that. But yeah, I would probably keep your distance.
Yeah, I would
Be
keep
like,
your
"Kitty!"
distance from the creepy feral cats. But cast members say the geese are the worst things because they like to hiss and run and nip and bite children and adults because they're very territorial. Hate geese.
Geese are devils anyway.
Yeah,
so.
geese are devils. But yeah. Did we not mention anything creepy that you would like to add? Maybe there's enough things where we could do a part 2 video to this, but we were just like, we want to do something for the Disney trip. But again, we're not vlogging our Disney trip. It is a vacation, and that's not really, it's kind of the opposite of like happy-go-lucky sunshine and rainbows isn't really the thing that we generally do on this channel. It's more focused on creepy stuff and like some attractions. We'll go to like attraction stuff as like that as well.
I might post some pictures from Haunted Mansion and stuff like that, but that's about it.
Right. And yeah, make sure you do follow us on social media. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Also, make sure to check out that Patreon and help us out. Because, YouTube pays not much for small channels, and if you like our content, want us to keep making content, it is greatly appreciated. We have tiers, I think, as low as like $5, something like that. You can also become a YouTube member, and that is just $5. So it's not like multiple tiers. And it gets you like little stickers and emotes and stuff you can do, but it's really just there to help support us. Yep, but that being said, thank you very much for watching and or listening, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.